I will rapidly drive prices down and we will make America affordable again.
Offering few specifics on what he would try to do to bring down costs, but upping his attacks on Harris's economic proposals.
So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz.
It is. Doug gets the bro hugs. He brings it. So, well, thank you, and it's true. And to Gwen and Doug both, all of you, none of us do this alone. We're all in this together. I think this is a room that knows this campaign will be won in rooms just like this all across the country. It'll be run with people sitting on the phone banks in there, dialing numbers, and people picking up the phone on a Sunday and having somebody say, do you have a minute to talk about the future of our country? That's a pretty big step. Pick up that phone and talk. But listen to these folks in here. People are doing it. They're doing it. And the thing I can tell you, what Kamala Harris has brought to this, for so many things, from experience as a prosecutor to an attorney general, to a United States senator, to a vice president, to the next president of the United States. There's that resume, which is out without question. But the reason they're picking up the phone and the reason that they're standing 1,000 deep in 109-degree heat in Las Vegas is she's bringing out the joy in the hearts of Americans. She's bringing out the kindness that ties us together, the decency, the vision of a better tomorrow. And each of these volunteers and the people who put it on, they all said it. They said it is so much better to be for something rather than against something. To be for the future, not going back. That's what people know. And some of us who have less hair and are old enough, can remember when you could go to Thanksgiving, watch a Steelers game with your relatives, and not complain about politics the whole time. Not be on each other's neck. Because you shared a commitment to democracy, a commitment to personal freedom, a commitment to public education, a commitment to infrastructure.
A commitment to dudes rocking, too.
We don't call each other names. We don't do it. And we don't use the least fortunate amongst us as punchlines for our jokes because they're our neighbors. They're our neighbors. And so, you're getting an opportunity to see the best side of America. And for the young people here, they maybe haven't seen a campaign like this because of COVID, because of the things that's happening. This is a chance to bring out that joy, turn the page, and look to the future. This idea of going forward. So, Doug is right. He told you, my kids were backstage in awe. He didn't tell you they were probably in awe because they could not believe that I got through that thing and through that speech, that was amazing to them. But I'll tell you what, they have felt part of this family because they can feel the decency radiating off these people. They can see the commitment. They know that children matter. They know that family matters. They know that individuals matter. And this leader knows that it's not any of government's business to be in your health care decisions. Those are your decisions. And this is a leader who celebrates love in all forms that it comes by, that we love each other. And for the young people, you hear somebody talking about this, we have the right to send our children to school to be free from being shot dead in their classrooms. That's what it is. And this is a nation can ensure clean water, clean air, and a bright future for our children. So I have to tell you, we got 79 days. And you'll hear me say this. Doug's going to correct me on this. I say, that's easy. We can sleep when we're dead. Doug said we can sleep on November 6th after this election is over. So you may be right. But look, coming into football country and being an old football coach, there's an old saying, you don't hope you're going to win. You prepare to win. And you give it the best you've got. And you know when that game's over, you want to know you left it all on the field. And that's all we're asking. Let's leave it all in the field. Let's get this thing done. Because when my grandkids and your grandkids asked you about this, because on November 6th, you were there, first time when you got to welcome Madam President of the United States,
Kamala Harris.
Thank everybody. I want to start with Tim Walz. Isn't he fantastic? I like to call him Coach Walz. And,
You could tell when she says, "Isn't he fantastic?" She being so real. She's being so fucking real. Like, that's not fake. That's not fake enthusiasm.
I'm telling you. I mean, there's something, I don't know, my first grade teacher, Mrs.
Does she recognize that she's being outshined by Tim Walz? Who gives a shit? She wants to win, dude.
Anyone who decides to become a teacher,
This is like one of those few instances, as I've said, where like her being a generic Democrat and an empty vassal for whatever works.
And my husband.
An empty vassal for whatever like will get her across the finish line is unironically a good thing. Most Democrats at the top of the ticket would have been worried about being outshined by the VP. Historically, that's the reason why they most people just like choose shitty VPs.
I want to just for a moment mention my friend Bob Casey. You have got to send him back to the United States Senate.
Vessel, not vassal.
For the
Sorry.
time that I was in the United States Senate and worked with Bob, I'm going to tell you something. We would have these meetings where all of the Democratic senators would get together for lunch. No cameras in the room. Bob, almost every time, was one of the ones who would stand up in that room with all the other senators from around the country, talking about the working people of Pennsylvania and why we needed to have you in our mind when we were thinking about national policy every single day. That's who Bob Casey is. Let's send him back to the United States Senate. Chris DeLuzio, we want to thank you. What he is doing in the halls of Congress, again, I mean, you sent some fighters to D.C., Pennsylvania. You sent some fighters to D.C. Your next Attorney General, DePasquale, where are you? I've done that work. I know what it requires, and you're going to be outstanding. So you've got a lot of work, Pennsylvania, on your shoulders right now that you're carrying, and you who are here volunteering to do this work. And we're going to get it done. And Malcolm Kenyatta knows exactly what I'm talking about. I see him almost every time I come into the state. So I want to just address you all right now as the volunteers. Tim said it. This campaign for us is really born out of love of country. We all here, we love our country. And we know our country is going to be as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And to fight for what we stand for. When you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. When you stand for working people, you fight for working people. When you stand for freedom, whether it be to make decisions about your own body or love who you love, you fight for those things. When you believe in ending child poverty, you fight for that.
If Kamala doesn't get another plus 3% bump from the DNC in every swing state, it's so over. It's not an unfair estimation.
And these, therefore, are the things we fight for. And that's what our election is about. Our election
You miss Joe a little? Yeah, me too, man. You don't know what you got till it's gone. You want a guy who is a carcass, actually. Until he's gone and you're like, fuck, where's my carcass?
As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact. What it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And that's what this campaign is about. This campaign is about recognition.
You never know the last time you will see somebody, like you never know the last time you will pick up your child. That's crazy.
Perversion that has taken place, I think, which is to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, when what we know is the real and true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up.
Yo, off script. When she goes off script, she does the rambling stuff a lot.
Strength looks like. That's what strength looks like.
She's back to her old ways. Lord forgive me. She's doing the we must not look backwards. We must have the strength to start revitalizing the effort to look forwards in a meaningful fashion type shit.
We know what we are about. We know what we stand for. And one of the beautiful things about these next 79 days is
she's back. She's unburdened. She's unburdened by what has been.
Let's build community.
And burdened by what is to become.
Let's reinforce community.
I can see it. I see it.
You all as volunteers, what you know, and we're going to spread the word, is how you can look at the face of a perfect stranger and see in their face a neighbor. That we see in each other our connection, our interdependence, what we see in each other, which fortifies and reinforces that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. That's what this campaign is about. Yes, it is about winning, and we will win. And we will win. God willing. And through these next 79 days, we will continue to build community, build coalitions, and remind each other we are all in this together. So I thank you all so very much for what you are doing. Now let's get back to work, shall we?
Pennsylvania takes center stage with visits by both candidates.
As the presidential candidates focus their energies on Pennsylvania, seen as a key state to winning the White House in November. And ABC White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joined.
She's not really random. There was a huge controversy surrounding her. No, she is random. You want to know why she's random? Because she's a random fucking TikToker whose name I've never heard in my entire life. Okay? So I'm sorry. It is a fucking random TikTok narrative. I don't give a fuck about one random TikToker's huge controversy with a couple million followers. Like, you're fucking insane, dude. Charlie D'Amelio would not even move the fucking needle in this situation, okay? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? What are we talking about? This is insane. I'm not saying that, like, that random TikToker is doing a psyop. I'm saying that, like, all of the drama surrounding a random TikToker is a very obvious fucking psyop, okay? Yeah. Look, this is... if every Palestinian, if every Hamas member said the M-word 10 times a day, Palestinians still wouldn't deserve the genocide. Like, I know that is a ridiculous thing to mention, but it's true. Like, the idea that, like, it is no different than people being like, wow, dude, some Palestinians are very anti-gay. It's like, okay, what about the fucking gay Palestinians that are being killed? Like, what are you talking about? I guess they deserve genocide then. My bad, bro. My bad. Like, sorry, sweetie, the genocide will not stop, okay? I've decided that the pro-Palestinian movement in the Western world is actually anti-black, sweaty. Oh my God, what a laughable fucking notion, dude. Like, these are some of the most diverse crowds of people. Like, it's one of the most diverse groups of people in terms of, like, the pro-Palestinian emancipation because it touches, like, every fucking part of intersectionality. Literally.
Joins us with the latest. Mary Alice, good morning.
Yeah, well, good morning. Both Democrats and Republicans really zeroing in on the economy this week, trading attacks over who has the best economic proposals. Today, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will be in Western Pennsylvania on a new bus tour before heading to Chicago. This morning, all eyes on Pennsylvania, where Vice President Kamala Harris is set to debut a new campaign bus on the eve of the Democratic National Convention. Former President Donald Trump also spending the weekend in the key battleground state.
I will rapidly drive prices down, and we will make America affordable again.
Offering few specifics on what he would try to do to bring down costs, but upping his attacks on Harris's economic proposals.
She went full communist.
Harris this week blamed corporations.
That was really awesome. Did you guys see Trump talking about how if you vote for Kamala Harris, everyone will get health care? I love that. These guys are so brain broken, bro. You vote for Kamala Harris, everyone's getting health care. A nightmare scenario. Can you imagine how bad it would be for every American to get health care? Terrifying reality, folks. Everyone knows Americans are better off without health care.
Vice President Kamala Harris unveiled a populist economic plan on Friday aimed at providing tax relief to over 100 million middle class and lower income Americans. This move comes as she solidifies the details of her governing agenda just weeks after securing the Democratic presidential nomination. In a speech delivered in the battleground state of North Carolina, Harris outlined her economic platform, which includes measures to make housing, groceries, healthcare, and childcare more affordable. This comes as her Republican opponent, former President Donald Trump, attempts to hold Harris accountable for the inflation spike since she and President Joe Biden took office. Harris's proposals to build on President Biden's economic agenda, extending or reviving temporary measures that congressional Democrats enacted when they held control during the first 2 years of Biden's presidency. Harris emphasized her commitment to continuing the economic progress made under the Biden administration, stating, "We will build on the foundations of the progress we have made." Yet, we understand that many Americans still don't feel that progress in their daily lives. Costs remain too high, and for many, no matter how hard they work, it feels nearly impossible to get ahead, Harris said. She declared that the key goal of her presidency would be to create an opportunity economy for the middle class and vowed to address rising costs, particularly in essential goods like groceries, and combat price gouging.
Reparations for price gouging and promised penalties for them to try to drive down grocery costs, as well as new funding to work on the housing crisis. Republicans pouncing, saying government spending has led to inflation. As a pitch to bring back jobs, Trump pushing for tariffs on products coming from overseas.
I want to cut taxes on Americans while putting tariffs on China and foreign countries to bring our jobs back home to Pennsylvania.
Trump spending much of his remarks commenting on Harris's looks.
They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, huh. I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is.
Some of his supporters saying he should lay off the personal attacks.
Let's talk about, the facts of what's going on in the country, the issues. He does need to ease up on that a little bit.
Harris's spokesperson in a statement writing, he resorts to lies, name-calling, and confused rants. The more Americans hear Trump speak, the clearer the choice is this November. Her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, campaigning in Nebraska, where he was born and raised.
I graduated from a town of 400 named Butte. I wouldn't trade growing up in that town for anything in the world. Spent my summers working on the farms.
Now, President Biden and the First Lady will kick off the Democratic Convention on Monday. They will formally turn over the week's events and the party to Vice President Harris. Now, the president's team argued that the president should actually get credit for his confidence in Harris, his quick endorsement of her, that helped Democrats avoid a really messy convention. Will.
All right, Mary Alice Parks for us in Washington. Thank you. And ABC News will host the first presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. It'll take place on September 10th in Philadelphia's National Constitution Center, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern. Our own David Muir and Lindsay Davis are the moderators, and it's live on ABC and streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
For Democrats, the road back to the White House requires a pit stop.
Can you wear normal-sized pants? Fuck no, dude. I love my big-ass pants, dude. My parachute pants look sick. Quick Jason clip.
Motherfucker, I don't know, bro. I'm just going with the flow.
As you should be.
Yes, sir.
We got the stream going on.
Hasan? I'm tripping.
Not Kason.
No, not Kason. I said Hasan. You look like Hasan. Kind of a little, nah.
Bro, that's crazy. Nah.
Kind of a little, nah. Nice to meet you, though. That motherfucker taking a...
That's crazy.
Stop in Chicago. Beginning Monday, the party holds its convention at the United Center, where they will officially nominate Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the presidential ticket. Organizers there have been busy preparing for thousands of delegates and politicians, as well as protesters. Ed O'Keefe is in Chicago. Ed, good morning.
Michelle, great to see you. You know, Chicago this coming week will host a political convention for the 26th time, more than any other American city. And while there are concerns about gridlock and protests, Democrats in this state are eager to help Vice President Harris make history. The stage is set. The security is in place. And Chicago is bracing for the crowds. So is the city ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says he hopes his city can strike a balance.
And so we're going to protect those individuals whose voices are being heard to make sure that they're safe. But we're also going to make sure that we have a vibrant, energetic, exciting convention that's going to launch, again, a history.
This is the only reason why I don't know what will happen with the Palestinian protest, because, like, the mayor is pretty pro-Palestine.
Maker into the White House.
Will you be a part of the protest, or will you just be sucking off obezi like Obama? Nah, dude. If I see the protesters, I'm gonna kick them. That's my plan. My plan is, if I see protesters, I'm gonna be like, I'm talking, sweetie. Okay. I'm gonna talk to the protesters and be like, sweetie, I guess it seems like you want Trump to win. Yeah. I guess it seems like you want Trump to win, sweetie pie. Chat, is he for real? Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Chatters are so broken. I will never. This is why I have so many fucking haters, dude. Like, in a lot of instances, obviously it's like hard to pick up on my sarcasm, but like, dude, I get it. Like, I know it's hard to pick up on sarcasm, but like, how, like, there are certain things that I have done leading up to this very moment. Like, I didn't just appear on your screen devoid of context. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just appear in front of you devoid of complete context. Like, you have to at least know a little bit about my background.
Vice President Harris is set to arrive in Chicago Sunday night after a campaign bus tour across western Pennsylvania. She spent the last several days writing her speech. She'd already been writing one to accept her renomination as VP. Now she'll headline a convention originally intended to focus on President Biden.
Joe Biden is really one of the great presidents.
He's so handsome. He's such a handsome lad, dude. I love him. Big boy.
Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker agrees with polls showing Harris.
JB, defend the Palestinian protesters, please. Don't hurt my soul like this. I can't. We got big boy solidarity up in this bitch, JB. Don't do it.
Has re-energized their party.
Kamala Harris brings a different angle on the Democratic Party and makes sure that we bring the excitement and joy to the party that I think people weren't really feeling because they felt like we had two older guys who were running against each other.
It's all set to begin Monday night with a tribute to Biden and a speech by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. On Tuesday, former President Barack Obama is the headliner. Wednesday, it's former President Bill Clinton and vice presidential nominee Tim Walz. Thursday is Harris's big night. Harris has been working on that speech for weeks, expected to be working on it right up until she delivers it. It is, of course, the biggest moment of her political life. As for the Republicans, they are not taking a rest while Democrats meet here in
a preview of the my favorite CBS Sunday Morning with that fucking classic like 80s filter. Goddamn. Can we skip day one? Wait, why? Can they skip day one? Are you opening for Biden or Obama? I didn't see you on the schedule. I'm opening every day and I'm closing every day. They wanted me to speak every day. They were like, hey, Hasan, you are the #1 defender of the Democratic Party. You obviously very clearly have our interests in mind over anything else. You have no ideological convictions that may put you at odds at times, maybe all the time, with the Democratic Party's agenda. And therefore, we want you to always be at the forefront. Yeah.
This week at the...
Why not at Streamer Games? Because I was at a bachelor party, 47-month subscriber. I was at a bachelor party yesterday. And today I'm flying out to Chicago. To speak at the Democratic National
Convention. Vice President Kamala Harris will formally accept her party's nomination for president. The fact that her historic candidacy will be officially launched in Chicago has a special significance, as Robert Costa reports.
Chicago, perhaps no city has been more connected with the Democratic Party. And this week, Chicago will host its 12th Democratic convention, nominating Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz. To talk about the new ticket and this old school.
Just letting you know, you would have destroyed the competition at the Streamer Games? Really? I feel like there's some athletic people there.
City.
Well, I'm Irish, so corned beef sandwich.
We naturally had lunch with a Daley.
What kind of case do you think she needs to make to win this November? What does she actually need to do?
I think she has to lay out a vision. She has to show who she is as a person and kind of what she believes. Not so much the litany of specific positions on issues, but sort of a sense of who she is and what does she believe in.
Bill Daley, who has spent his life in Democratic politics, met us at Manny's Deli, a spot beloved by Chicago's workers and its politicians. The memory of Daley's father, the late Mayor Richard J. Daley, still looms large in Chicago. In 1968, at the height of the Vietnam War, the city hosted the Democratic Convention. That year, like this year, the incumbent exited the race.
I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
This is a generous...
Remember when they tried to rush the ballot to force Biden to be the nominee? Yeah, I do remember. Remember when I was, once again, completely right about that, alongside many of the other things that I'm still advocating for, okay?
And that year, like this year, violence marred the campaign.
On to Chicago and let's win there.
At the turbulent convention that August, Bill Daley was at his father's side.
What was it like, though, to be inside the cauldron when it's boiling over?
It was crazy.
Outside the convention hall, there were bloody confrontations between police and anti-war protesters.
Yeah, except back then, cops, this is their riot gear, bro. This was how the normal kitted out cops looked like when they were in riot gear, with batons and a helmet at most. Now, the average beat cop has more than this, okay? Especially when you, especially when you factor in the riot gear. Holy fucking shit.
Putting Mayor Daley in the spotlight.
You ever have any regrets years later about how that all played out in '68?
If he did, he didn't express them. Look at it, he didn't like it. He didn't like what happened. You know, he didn't like the rap to Chicago. But you know what? He didn't look back.
This week, there are planned protests of the Biden-Harris administration's handling of Israel's war with Hamas.
This city seems to have been bracing for protests. What do you expect on the streets?
There'll be protests. There'll be a lot of protesters. I don't think they'll be out of hand. You know, it's not the 60s.
The convention's key speaker on Monday night is President Biden.
How are Democrats going to handle that? Showing some respect for him, but also recognizing it's still the Harris convention?
I think there's going to be enormous emotional reaction to the president's being there. I think that place will be rocking.
Harris will accept the nomination on Thursday, setting the stage for a showdown with former President Donald Trump.
All of a sudden, the cards have all been reshuffled, where he's the older guy and she's the young, new generation. And that's a pretty powerful message, too, just that alone.
Many Democrats hope this crossroads will have echoes of another Chicago gathering, when in 2008, Barack Obama became the first Black American to win the White House, where Bill Daley later served as his chief of staff.
It's been a long time coming, but tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
He was totally different from anybody who had ever run for president. Everything about his candidacy was change. He just exuded change, difference.
We love our country.
For Harris, there might be a balancing act. She is at once new to many Americans, but already in power.
But she is an incumbent vice president.
Yeah, I know, but all due respect to vice presidents, they're really not known by the American people. The job itself kind of dictates you play second fiddle.
Vice President Harris casting herself, it seems like the change candidate. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. It's just like Barack Obama did.
Look at that artist, Shepard Fairey, who did the Obama Hope painting years ago. He just came out with a new one with Harris, Forward. Just among Democrats, this excitement that
absolutely the thought of the first woman.
I mean, even the fact that they're still going with Shepard Fairey with the same format, like that's not a good. That is. Oh my lord. Who knows?
Being president is awfully exciting. I have 3 granddaughters. They're incredibly excited.
That excitement, Bill Daley cautions, will soon be tested by the reality of a brutal campaign.
The Electoral College is very difficult for a Democrat. You almost have to.
Vice President Kamala Harris's choice of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate has brought healthcare to the forefront in the final stretch of the November presidential election. Walz, a 60-year-old former high school teacher and football coach, has a history of supporting progressive healthcare policies during his time as governor, and while serving in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2007 to 2019. He also governs a state that is a key player in the healthcare industry, with Minnesota being home to United Health Group, the nation's largest health insurer, and the renowned Mayo Clinic. Republicans have criticized the Harris-Walz ticket as being too extreme on healthcare, while Democrats argue that Walz's efforts to reduce drug costs and protect abortion rights are mainstream positions that resonate with swing voters. His selection emphasizes healthcare as a central issue in the election, highlighting the ongoing national debate over abortion access and voters' concerns about rising healthcare costs. Walz's positions align closely with those of Harris. He has actively supported abortion rights, signing legislations to codify abortion protections in Minnesota and touring a Planned Parenthood clinic with the vice president in March. He backed congressional legislation to allow the federal government to negotiate drug prices for Medicare, the health insurance program for seniors and the disabled. On August 15th, the Biden administration announced reduced prices for 10 drugs under this program, with the lower costs set to take effect in 2026. As governor, Walz signed a 2020 law capping out-of-pocket insulin costs at $35 a month for eligible residents with an urgent need for the medication. 2 years later, President Joe Biden extended a similar measure to all Medicare patients. If you found this video informative, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.